Hey, it's Caitlin and Adam. To be our next guest on Enta Ask, click the link below. Enjoy the episode.
Hi, I'm Adam Colazetti.
And I'm Caitlin Bullock.
And this is Enta Asks. And today we are in downtown Calgary after a long absence.
Right.
We are very excited about the view and the blue sky. And we are sitting with Chad Larson, who is the Director of Wealth Management and Portfolio Manager, and Sue Derlago, who is the Vice President and Senior Financial Planner at Canaccord Genuity Wealth. Welcome, guys.
Good morning. Yeah, thanks for having us here. Beautiful place. So last time, if you caught it, we talked all about the amazing diversity that they have both in their offering as well as in their leadership team, and how much community involvement these guys have. It really is amazing. So we love that. Go check out the previous episode if you want to see that. Today we're going to go on a journey. Sue's going to tell us what it's going to be like to go through the process, right? Because for me, my portfolio is scattered, right? It's all individual. I deal with this person for this aspect, this person. So what would it be like for me to come on board with you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that we mentioned earlier where we like to get started is figuring out, what are all the moving parts, and every family and every client, those may look different. So one of the things we spend some time on is we talk about the 3Ds. And what that really comes down to is we want to spend some time on discovery, figuring out all of the moving parts in your specific situation. What does your family look like? What are your occupational pursuits now and in the future? How do you like to spend your time? How do we want to align your financial resources, right? To give you more of that recreation and personal interest. And, money is really the aspect that's going to help all of those things actually happen. Right. So we spend a lot of time initially figuring out, that discovery process. What happens, the next step in our process is we now go to what we consider design. And that is taking all of the information that we've learned about you personally, the moving parts, and starting to design some strategies that are going to give, you and your family the best possible financial results now and in the future. So a lot of our time and energy is spent on that design. Mm-hmm. And then the last stage in our process is what we refer to as deploy. It's all great to put together recommendations, but if nothing is ever implemented or put into action, and that's where I then tend to work very closely with Chad and the rest of our team.
Chad button gets
the Chad button.
Chad.
No, and I'm not going to get into like the intricacies or the academia of around portfolio construction. I said I've made a career out of using a crayon and being able to understand things and allow people to connect to them. And I want to compliment what Sue is saying about the 3Ds. But we spend a lot of time on form, and Sue alluded to it, but didn't want to say what we truly believe. Like, money isn't real. We talk about form, and that's family, occupation, recreation, and money. Money is just a tool to solve for those other three. And when we clearly help families define what it is they want through all of those, allows us to be able to tailor and give them insight and transparency what their money can achieve for them. Especially now, like as we have an aging demographic and baby boomers and many people transitioning from a conventional or traditional work environment. It was a really tough thing, and I don't know if we've coined it or maybe we should, but I said our clients typically don't ever retire. Our clients usually pursue and employ work optional lifestyles, and that is that Shangri-La, that is that ultimate goal where people want the flexibility to know that they don't have to do something and that they do and pursue what they want. And so, through the 3Ds and through some form planning allows us to, before I'm ever even remotely involved, again, having a scattered investment picture is kind of like just decorating your house. It's kind of like, look at this cool lamp and look at this amazing throw and wow, look at this chandelier. Right. It's all interesting and it's cool, but we haven't talked and spent any time on the foundation, the plumbing, the roof, like all of these protective things that really form the foundation and like the critical bricks and mortar of what we're here to do I don't ever want to be part of the earlier onset conversations to talk about cool lamps and chandeliers, because those are the investment components until we have a strong view and blueprint of the foundation. And we use, Sue's done an incredible job spiriting and leading that within the team through a proprietary process that we call the Atlas formula. And that is something that we implement. So when you ask the question what it's like to work with us, the buck starts really with Sue and her team in creating first, if there's a fit, and it's probably something we should talk about some more, and then going through that rigorous planning process.
So does that happen? Like if I booked my meeting and we talked it out and we decided that it's not a good fit, like that could be a conversation? You guys, you know what, we're not right for you? Or
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that we are really focused on is we want to work with people who, we enjoy working with, are probably aligned in some of their, opinions and aspirations. And we may not be aligned with everyone out there, and that's okay. And, Chad and I joke that when we both started building our careers in the early years, you would take on and work with anyone, right, who wanted to work with you. We now find ourselves in a position, which is a phenomenal place for us to have gotten to, where we can be more selective so that we only take on, those clients and families who really will engage with us, who will go through that whole process, who are actually willing to open the whole kimono, right? And if they're not, that's okay. And we are happy to provide direction and introductions to others who may be better suited for someone who wants to work with a team of financial advisors on that type of basis. So, back to your question, Caitlin, you asked, does that ever happen? It does. And, again, we don't want to start out a relationship where maybe, your expectations and what we can truly deliver and want this to look like for you are not in alignment.
Yeah.
And it's made for fantastic relationships,
absolutely.
but also, us ensuring that we're working truly on situations where we can actually improve, develop, and take it to that last stage of implementing a lot of our advice and recommendations.
One of those things, and maybe if it fits in here, but I believe it's topical, is so often, and what affects that aha moment that initiates someone to want to make a change. It's not typically because there's a complete breakdown relationship, but it's typically there's something there, whether it's performance results, whether it's service, whether it's lack of having a proactive the service model, or their needs have evolved past what maybe their current incumbent advisor is capable of handling. But all of that comes down to a place where we never lead, and it maybe sometimes I'd say it's one of the most appealing and intriguing parts of dealing with us, but it's also sometimes the most confusing, is that head to head within that horse race of looking to make an advisory team change is, it's so often in this industry is haunted with jargon, with acronyms, EBITDA, EPS, cash flow per share, all of this stuff, which is meant to maybe confuse and convolute and create a larger barrier between communication with the clients. We never lead with the yucky P's, which is products, prices, and performance. Those are all things. We lead with people, process, and philosophy. Those are things we can control, and those are things that are scalable, that we can implement across our organization and stay steadfast to and continue to invest in. It's just too easy. It's salesmanship to go the other way. Any one of us can pull something off the shelf with the benefit of hindsight and portray something that we could do, but I think we owe it to ourselves, we owe it to our clients. Our capital is invested alongside in the same manner in which our private clients are. And so we really focus on the P's that matter, which is people, process, and philosophy.
I love that.
Yeah, I'm so excited about your 3Ds and your 3Ps because, you guys have discover, design, and deploy. We have the 3 Fs, find, fix, fly is what we call it.
A lot of set of threes
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, and for us, the fly part, we spend 10 times as long as the find and fix part. And one of the struggles or the challenges in our line of work is to tactfully hold our clients accountable. So I'm curious how you guys do that?
Oh,
Some good old arm wrestling.
Yeah.
Right?
You'd say, just remember, like, as much as we want to give ourselves these, amazing analogies, like we're like your own CFO, or we're like your team coach. Like, a lot of this is like having a personal trainer. Like we all know how to get in shape, and we have to do push-ups, so we have to eat healthy and get rest, but a lot of times many people need a personal trainer to keep them accountable. So our robust service model employs subtle and not so subtle. We don't zap anyone.
We call them gentle reminders.
We call them, I do that with my 11-year-old at home. I said, do you need a gentle reminder? But, they appreciate it, because money is complicated. Money is like, there's always something. It's tax, it's RSPs, it's RESPs, there's corporate year ends. There's always something happening. And so, they're not here today, but we have such an incredible administration and operations team within MLD Wealth Management that keep things humming along, and we really try to employ a process where things don't slip through the cracks.
That's amazing. Yeah, I really like that. And I mean, as engineers, we like the design part, but man, the deploy, that's the harder part of it, right? That's where the work is. And we find that we get clients who well, I just want this aspect of what you do. And that's where I totally get it. No, this is where you're going to get the power.
Yeah.
The power is in the full service.
Yeah.
And it really is so important to push on what you have control over. Like philosophy, like process. The rest is just results, right? Once they're in, it's done. So I really like that, because that's, you're pushing on the leading indicators, not the something you have control over.
You got to start at the root.
A lot of it as well, right? And one of the things,
and that's process driven, right? Is persistency creates habit.
It's another P.
One of the things I joke about is there are days where I feel like I could be a professional nagger, right? But at the end of the day, our job is to take, ideas and recommendations and make sure they actually happen. Through the years, we've developed some systems and processes that have helped us break down some of the barriers, right, with our clients. And that might be allowing us, to have both spouses engaged. We open up right at the beginning relationships with their existing professionals. That might be your accountant, your lawyer. Maybe you had someone who helped you with your insurance years ago, and you're happy to leave that there. So a big part of our job is taking down some of the barriers that tend to get in the way of people kind of moving through those steps towards implementation. And it's, where we spend a lot of our time, but it's also where we can be really impactful.
It's so Canadian too. Like, previous to this conversation, we were talking about how do I make that change? How do I have that awkward conversation? I just remind people all day, we're in the service business. Like, it's your money. And, when you really put the client first in their best interests, those conversations between professionals, it's never a totalitarian win. It's about, if we've got the client's best interests in heart and things need to stay as is, we just look to make sure they're all talking together and they're coming out for a single purpose. Again, just back to the foundations and the plumbing and the roof of the house.
Right.
We can decide where the lamps come from and where all of that happens later. But things need renovations, things need spruce up, things need makeovers from time to time as the world changes.
Absolutely.
That's amazing. And I really have to thank you guys. This has been not only so educational, but a lot of fun.
Right.
I can really speak to just the personality and the dynamic you guys had. This has been
Thank you.
really
We try to
fun.
have fun.
Yeah, well, I've never had a financial conversation that was this much fun.
It just gets better,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, right?
So if you want to get a hold of Chad and Sue, you're going to go to mywealthmanagement.ca. You're going to click on that button. You're going to book the first meeting. No obligation, right? You're going to see if you guys are the right fit, and that I'm not going to bore you with paperwork, which is amazing. You're going to have fun with these guys. So take a look, check them out, and thanks so much for joining us. Oh, can I get a mic drop?
That was so
Epic. Join us next time on Enta Asks.